Let me go over the ingredients we will need for this recipe. There is some equipment and stuff. You will need a 9-inch pie pan. You will need a nice mixer to mix it up. All these are for actually the pie crust itself. A little cooking spray, a little butter to go on it, graham crackers, and a little bit of brown sugar. All those ingredients go in the pie crust. For making the dish itself, you will need some Hershey's cocoa. You will need some cornstarch, 3 eggs. We will break the eggs open, use nothing but the yolk, save the egg whites. It'll take sugar. You'll need a measuring cup to measure the milk in, which we'll do in a little bit. Come down here, you need some salt, and you'll need a little pure vanilla. Those are the ingredients that will go into this recipe. I've ground up the graham crackers in my food processor. I've come back in, put the cooking spray on my 9-inch baking pan. I'm going to come back in and I'll add the butter and the brown sugar and maybe a little water to make it a paste so we can put the pie crust together. You could come back in and buy them pre-made. You could do a pie dough type crust, but I like the graham cracker, and this is what my mother and aunts used to make. And I added the butter, the brown sugar, and we've got it mixed a little bit. Next we're going to add a little bit of water to come back in and make it into a paste. I've added the water, mixed it up, and we'll go ahead and put it in the pie pan, put it in the ice box, and it'll set up. It's time to make the pudding that actually goes into the pan. What I've done, I've come back in, I've mixed the cocoa, I've mixed the cornstarch, I've mixed the salt, and we've got the eggs separated right there, the egg whites and the egg yolks and the milk. So I'm going to start putting it together. We come over the stove, and as you can see, I've got a medium to high heat on it. I've got everything in the pan here. I'll start mixing in the milk, the egg yolk, and the vanilla. It's important to have a heavy pan. You'll need to stir this stuff for about 15 minutes until it gets thick. As you can see, basically what we've made is a chocolate pudding here. It's an old-fashioned chocolate pudding my aunts and mother used to make all the time. We've come back in and put it on the stove over the medium heat. It's come back in with the cornstarch, made it thicken up, stirred it up very well, and now what we'll do, we'll put it in the ice box for 30-40 minutes to let it set up. You could also use this just for a nice chocolate pudding that you could serve into bowls for your kids. But today we're making the pie. Let's make our meringue. Usually on Sunday I will come back in and cook some type of dessert for the family, guests, or whatever coming over, usually about twice a month. I've got a nice glass bowl. I've got my mixing beaters there. I've added the egg white, a tablespoon of baking powder, and we'll come back in and we'll start stirring it up. So we do it, we'll add the sugar to form a nice stiff peak.